Welcome back, everyone, for another segment of Pro to Pro. Today, we have Whippo with us. I'm sure you had super fun in that game, right?
I love the fun.
All right, great. So we're going to actually talk about it really quick. So before I hit this clip and play, you're trading super aggressively with Impact here. Is this how this lane really goes, like normally goes?
You can go even more aggressive if you like to. You can take lethal tempo and walk behind the minion wave level 1 and just fist fight her to the death and, well, just beat her to death. But I opted into Conqueror because I felt like scaling was very good for me in this game. They have a lot of melee champions. Obviously, Zyrakan on the 4-5 was good picks against my champion, but everyone else wants to get in the fray and fight with me. So I figured with Conqueror, if I can stay alive long enough, I'm going to murder everything.
Gotcha. So if you take a look at the minimap, you'll see that you actually tell Santorin to skip his blue to come up here for this dive. And I'm wondering, since you're playing so aggressively, is this something that you guys planned before the game started? Or is it kind of just like a thing, like as the lane goes on, you got him chunked, you're like, hey, we can go for this dive now?
So the thing is, I actually, this was Santorin recognizing how volatile the lane state was, and he came up, because I actually backed up. If you look there, I backed up a little bit, and I waited for my W cooldown. But then he made the judgment call to come up top and give me the pressure. So once I crashed the wave with E, I think Impact feels safe to tank the dive.
Right.
But
Closer is here too. You guys see that he's there and you're still talking about you're going for this dive?
Basically, what we're talking about right now is like, we see Wukong, so we're talking, as Santorin's coming in, we're talking about where's Inspired, where's Wukong. We're not sure where he is, so I tell him just start the golems and try to find him, and if he doesn't show up in time, when my E is up, we'll just tower dive top. In this case, because we both win 1v1, both me and Trundle wins Wukong 1v1 and I win against the Gwen 1v1, we're just waiting for Trundle to push him out, and then I'm just like, we can dive when my E is up, we can dive them 2v1, 2v2, it doesn't matter.
Right, so this is pretty much the perfect scenario where you actually get the kill and you kill the jungler as well. I don't know if that was planned the entire time, but this was super well played from you guys, so I wanted to bring up and highlight that. So we'll have a second clip here. Obviously, when you see that the enemy top lane is running at you with half HP, you know you're about to get ganked. You see on the minimap that he starts showing up right there. So before this goes on, what is going on in your head right now? Are you thinking about how to survive, or are you thinking about how can you kill them?
Well, the thing is I know as soon as my ultimate is up, I can slap the Gwen immediately. But in this case, I have to just play slow and wait until I survive. So the interesting thing about Set is early game, when there's not enough tenacity yet in the game, when you EW, you can't dodge the true damage part of his kit. So what I'm waiting for is basically a moment where they're stacked next to each other, because Set's E pulls in all 4 directions. But people, like the way Set E pulls from the sides is very short. It's a very short, small hitbox. I have to wait until they're both stacked on top of me to get EW. And then I use Gore Drinker at the lowest health to make the most use out of my W shield and Gore Drinker up. And in this case, Rakan was still coming, so I gave. But in the case Rakan wasn't hovering, I would have murdered the Wukong as well. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I was feeling it.
So you guys get this kill, and normally people like take that and like recall you're like half HP, you got like 1,000 gold, but you're still sending people up here. So then what's going on in team comms here? Is someone saying, hey, let's spawn their Herald here, let's look for a dive? Can you tell me about who's saying what here?
Basically, we're saying that we want to go top and put the Herald down. We want to just keep the pressure up, because Leona is still coming in very fresh. Trundle is coming in very fresh. Like, we're still stronger than the enemy team. So we're just talking about like, we can still make a play here. I'm calling like, she can TP back. So in this case, like, we just, I wanted to make sure that the Herald was going to crash and kill the tower. And I got a little bit lucky there, to be fair, that the Q didn't finish me off, because I didn't want to waste my W before they committed. So that was like kind of hoping that I wouldn't die to the Q there. But in the case that I don't, I can get a really big W, and then I can use Gore Drinker to heal back up. So in this case, it was just a matter of like, we felt really strong 3v3, 4v4 still, even though I hadn't based. Like, I made sure my teammates knew that I was still really strong. And all we're talking about is like how strong Trundle is, because he's coming back with Sunderer from base. Wukong obviously doesn't have his mythic yet. I have my mythic. Enemy top laner doesn't have mythic, so it was just a matter of like, we're on our spike, and me being low health like is not enough to stop me from going.
Gotcha. That's awesome that was all planned the entire time. Like, it's obvious, like, you guys know that he's TPing in, you're calling for it, you're looking for the fight. So it's great to see that you guys are doing that. That's actually all I have for you today. I want to say after that point, you probably think it's also GG, I'd imagine, so. Oh,
yeah. Here I was certain. When I pressed tab and I saw 404 Trundle, 404, 401 4 set, I was like, yeah, our champions are way too strong against theirs. Their top side can't play the game anymore because our bruisers are just way bigger, and we already have the scaling in the Azir and Sivir, so I was super confident that we were going to take this game. Even the Trundle outskills, so we were super confident in our scaling this game, so an early game like this was just the nail in the coffin.
That's great to hear. Once again, congratulations on your win. Really dominating. Hope we can continue to see that. That's all that we have, and we're going to send it over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you so much, Ty. Thank you, Whippo. Congratulations to Team Liquid for taking down Evil Geniuses. Jat, we talked about the successive 1-1 weekends for Team Liquid, and they turn in a 2-0 and against EG, the #1 team at that to close it out.
Yeah, and we got the story of the mustaches as well. Whippo was trying to do something different every week that they were 1-1 to break the curse.
Right.
The mustaches is the one that succeeded.
So I guess they got to stay.
Now they're stuck with mustaches.
Keep at it, exactly.
Also, the largest gold diff at 14 this split was this game for Whippo. So
Yeah, for an individual.
Yeah.
And it was 27.65 gold at 14 minutes into the game. That is astronomical gold difference.
Yeah, and
Without a doubt.
This one was beautiful from Team Liquid. Just probably the best coordination for them because they had a pretty clear set and strategy that, Whippo literally talked about by going topside. It was executed excellently.
Yeah, I'm so glad he called for these successive dives. You saw them punish this over and over again. And I think the big thing that we've been so critical of with TL is like, okay, you have this lead, now what are you gonna do with it? We saw them stick to their game plan really, really well and be able to snowball the game. They had the late game insurance. Arguably they didn't even need it with how well they snowballed this, but that was great to see.
This is the best part about it because it reminds me of when Team Liquid had Alphari in the top side of the map, basically, where if your top laner is ahead, we are doubling down. Core JJ is also roaming topside, and so they made it happen. It forced Evil Genius's hand to come top. Otherwise, this matchup is insanely hard. And just take a look at this. It's insane. He gore drinkered off the phone, I think, too. So, it's just amazing where Evil Geniuses are like, we actually need to go top at some point, and he gets the 1v2. So
Don't go top.
No, at that point, you pretend like top lane doesn't exist. It's a 2-lane game from that point onward. I don't want to read too much into the fact that EG lost. I more so want to talk about what this does now to the rest of the league. Again, because as we had talked about for so long, it was Evil Geniuses in sole possession of first that a lot of people it was very easy for people to say they're the #1 team. Now in a tie for first place between them and 100 Thieves before we get to that tie for third between CLG and Team Liquid. Cloud9 dropping to 5th and 6th.
And with the CLG win, this is also a really important win for TL just to stay on pace with CLG, right? Going into the Super Week, they're still tied at 3rd with CLG, and then obviously the shift at the very top where 100 Thieves are now tied with EG.
All 6 of the teams at the top of the table have played their games today, which means they only have 3 games between them and the end of the season, which I think is very interesting when it comes to talking about that seeding. But by the same token, Jat, we have to talk about the rest of the teams that are looking to fight to just edge into that top 8, and those are the next 2 matchups that we have ahead of us. We'll kick things off with Golden Guardians versus Immortals.
Yeah, and you guys are familiar with theme parks, right?
I've been to 1 or 2 in my life.
Especially as a child.
Conceptually.
That, you must be this tall to ride was crushing to many children.
I didn't realize.
I was gonna say,
I didn't realize I was having a therapy session today.
What?
Are you saying you're still too
This is
short
a
to this?
week-to-week problem for Immortals because
Just
their
barely.
height changes. The height is the quality of their play.
Gotcha.
So last week, they had to be this tall to beat EG and this tall to beat 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, last week, we can call it last week's height. I'm not gonna LWA.
They're shrinking?
Yeah, what?
They played this tall, right? Which gave them 2 losses. So they're thinking going into next week, if we're just this tall, you only need to be this tall to beat Dignitas. But unfortunately, they were walking around on their knees and stuff during that game.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Wow. I did not realize we were going to get this.
Today, they just have to be this tall again. And mentally that, the point I'm making is last week they actually played well, got 0-2.
Yes.
It breaks you. And then also losing the game where they feel like it's a team they should have easily beaten yesterday is important for them because this team is actually playing well enough to be this tall and make playoffs.
Yes.
But they just can't fall short once again.
I feel like Jad is coaching us. These are why his coaching breakdowns look like.
So you're
and I'll take that. You know what? If Jat wants to coach me in League of Legends, I'm all about it.
Can't get any taller.
But I feel like somebody needs to coach Jat in the usage of the telestrator. Emily,
I think that worked great.
I don't know, man. It's the same color all the way across. You didn't write a single team on there.
Controls.
I got lost halfway through.
Yeah.
It started to look a lot like the Evan line. and so I started
The
regressing.
takeaway is we need a Bronny James level, just like height increase. The growth spurt needs to happen today.
I believe in you, IMT.
Immortals, you got to grow, baby. You got to grow. As our players ready up, Kenvi's given some insight on the challenges he faced in his promotion to the LCS. Check it out.
The hardest challenge for me is probably playing around teammates, because like for like past 2.5 years or like past 3 years, I've just been playing solo queue, playing myself, playing improvement on my mechanics only, and I didn't think about my teammates at all. Even in academy, I just usually play, my teammates usually play around me. And in LCS it's different. You should play around your lanes, which is pretty big difference. So like I have to like adjust my playstyle into that, and I think I'm getting better at it fast.
Hello and welcome back. We have an exciting battle here. Before we have the battles, the top spots, can you get a playoff bye? Can you clinch first place? Things like that. But these are the teams that are fighting for a spot in playoffs themselves. 4 games to play. Immortals over there, Golden Guardians. Actually, they're at home, but you know, otherwise they're behind me. But they are. This is the playoff bar, right? 4 games is 8th place. Immortals is at 3. Dignitas is at 3. They are right there neck and neck with Golden Guardians.
TSM also at 4 wins. So the 4 teams fighting for these last 2 spots are just right next to each other. A lot of them are playing their matchups against each other right now. So for Immortals, they can take down Golden Guardians here, start trying to claw their way back in. Dignitas picked up a win yesterday over Golden Guardians as well. That was very surprising for a lot of people. So it does feel like very much, as we're talking about the top of the table being up for some repositioning, right now the last teams in playoffs also up for grabs.
Yeah, and Golden Guardians have beat both Immortals and Dignitas, 2 teams they still will play, both today and next week in the Dignitas case, which can, even if in those games, secure their playoff spot with owning the tiebreak and being 2 games ahead and whatnot. Immortals, of course, would love to find themselves tall enough to beat Golden Guardians.
Jet, he's such a dynamic analyst, huh?
There's the Evan line.
He's running around, he's
height.
on his knees, he's doing somersaults.
Yeah, and it's all just ways of being like, how good is his team? Are they better or worse than their opponents? But, you know, he's got to make it about height and stuff, which is I don't know, a
strangely
choice.
obsessed with the height thing. The Evan line, now this.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, what, 6'1", so he's like, you know, relatively tall.
I have to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, you're actually taller than him, so.
No. So we see another first pick Azir.
Yep.
No LeBlanc ban this time, though, so we'll have to see if this will actually get counted out or if it will just be the Sylas yet again. Sylas has not looked so good today, but everyone knows how strong this champion can be when you make those big plays. That was also one of those games where it just kind of got away from EG. It was over in the first 5 minutes, so
yeah,
a lot of those matchups and stuff did not get a chance to shine.
This does feel like a bit of prep on the side of Immortals, though. Leader has exactly 1 total recorded competitive game on LeBlanc across his entire 212-game career.
Like, good call out.
He actually just doesn't play the champion. LeBlanc is the highest presence mid laner, or sorry, the highest presence champion in LCS history. And Leader's like, not me.
Someone watched 10 and 10?
I watched 10 and 10.
Did you get that one right, or did you get the answer afterwards?
I'm not sure. I don't think I would have guessed. I didn't think about guessing. I just watched.
So I got it wrong because I said Braum because he's the most played champion, but he's not often banned. He's almost never high enough strength to actually ban him, whereas LeBlanc had a lot of time where you never saw her because she was always on the ban table.
Indeed. But Azir is through, and they're going to go ahead and have the Sylas be the answer there. Wukong comes through as well. A nice Fiora. Licorice here for Golden Guardians has put a lot of games in that champion. Many top laners I've talked to said, yeah, the guy has like 1 or 2 champions. Fiora appears to be one of them. 5 games as a Sejuani as well, but this time going to be on split push power as Graves will be the answer. Can outrange and nothing really worth reposting.
Yeah, nice to see Revenge throwing down the gauntlet. I feel like both these teams felt like they were gearing up for this late season playoff push. We heard them talking about Immortals playing so well against the #1 and #2 team last weekend for Immortals, and then for Golden Guardians they had all these roster shuffles. First they bring in River, then they went 0-2 immediately after that. They bring in Leader this week, drop another game, and it just feels so bad that you have all these changes. You feel like you're gearing up and you stumble, but like we said, they're not out of striking position yet, and so kind of got to put all that noise behind you.
Yep.
Move on, and we're getting that skill matchup in the top side. Both teams still feeling confident.
Yeah, Immortals basically have control over destiny, right? They win here. They're head-to-head 1-1 against Golden Guardians. They'll tie them in record. You just win out from here, win tiebreak, whatever you need, and you can make that one happen. We're going to see the Nilah ban here as well. I will say Nilah Yuumi, Nilah Tarek, both look very, very good for different reasons, but very effective in those, as afraid of Golden Guardians bringing that one out here for Stixxay and Prismal.
Yeah, a little surprised to see that higher prioritized ban than, say, like a Sivir or something. There are a couple more AD carry bans coming in right now. It was the typical Kalista red side ban, that's pretty much all you see banned out right away. Draven as well is a bit of a lost call out. I know he lost that game yesterday on the Draven, but he got very fed very early on, so I can respect Golden Guardians getting rid of that. Yep. Also worth noting, Golden Guardians lost a ban for submission of their starting roster for today. So that is why you're only going to see 4, and we're already onto the draft for them.
Yeah, actually, I thought about it this morning because I got the ping that it happened. Back in the 2013 Spring or Summer Split, in my memory, apparently I was wrong because Kobe says it wasn't true. We were informed that like CLG lost a ban because they like submitted roster late as well. And I'm like, Kobe, what's the 5th ban gonna be? And he like thought about it for a while and it's like, there wasn't a ban. I thought it was funny because I thought he knew. Apparently, like he wasn't actually told him, so I just like trolled him on air, and I felt really bad about it afterwards. I was gonna do the same thing to you. I know you read the message, but like I was gonna be like, hey, what are they gonna ban? Haha, and then obviously it was nothing. Anyway, Aphelios Lulu is what is considered the best answer to Lucian Nami. You can handle the lane. We've seen it played pretty well here, so Lost can have better scaling, and they'll usually survive the all-in just because Guardian plus Lulu Shield can basically block the electric first.
Yeah, we talked yesterday about like the Karma Seraphine lane also being quite strong into the Nami Lucian, banned out right away in the first phase, so not some of those other options available. So Lulu makes a lot of sense. Also works well with Azir, one of the mages that you're very happy to whimsy as well and just speed him into those fights, get the extra AP on him.
Yeah, I mean, he likes the attack speed, likes the move speed, all that's pretty useful for him. So we do have an aggressive bottom lane out of Golden Guardians, who had gone 4-5 in the first round robin, are winless in the second. They have kind of wormed their way into a 5-game losing streak, hoping to find their footing again here because playoffs are on the line. Immortals right now, their chief competition for that spot. And again, they are trusting in Stixxay. I think Leader had a very good game. This roster played all of one game, and they lost to the first place team 100 Thieves. I think it looked pretty good. We'll see if they do find the form here late in the split.
They'll need to step up because this is one of their easiest games left on their schedule. They also have to play EG and Team Liquid next week, and then they round that one out with Dignitas. So you will have an opportunity to put some of the teams around you down here. That's why it's such an important game for both Immortals and Golden Guardians.
Alrighty, well, heading on to this very, very soon. Again, the fight to get into playoffs themselves. Reaching FlyQuest at 7 to get an upper bracket is going to be a tough road. It is possible right now, although a tough one, but heading on to this very, very soon to see who can squeak into 8th place at the end of the split with 4 games left to play. Immortals and Golden Guardians at Summoner's Rift.
Golden Guardians head now into the Rift. Kenvi as well. You heard him talking about having to learn to play around his laners. And it's something that he was someone who has been stepping up a little bit and having to get to know PoE and Revenge and whatnot.
Yeah, well, PowerOfEvil himself is going to give us a word on the power of shot calling.
Being on the same page, that kind of just comes by time normally. It comes down to who can you trust and who can you reliably, who can you listen to and trust, who's the most reliable shot caller, I guess, in a sense. And this kind of comes by time and by experience and by seeing how the games go and seeing how, a lot of times maybe it's right or wrong. And it's hard to just, make someone like a shot caller. I think it's a lot of times nowadays that people have their roles and in their strengths and their weaknesses in calling. So you kind of just assign them to each player a little bit.
It's always so interesting to hear different perspectives on shot calling. Funnily enough, when C9 launched onto the scene and Hai was like the guy, a lot of people were like, oh, we should do it that way because he's so good. And funnily enough, he probably ruined a lot of teams where people were trying to make players become Hai. And not everyone can do that. And since then, I think there's been a more balanced approach to shot calling. You heard him talking about it there, about people having kind of roles on the team. Junglers often taking more of a responsibility in the early game by communicating with their laners and coming up with their own plan, as well as what they need to get objectives. And then sometimes a lot of teams do, if someone becomes the strongest in the game, you should know how you win the game from here. If you're a super fed Twitch, we want to hear from the Twitch what he needs from the rest of us. And I think that makes a lot of sense to me, where you are like, well, you're the fed guy, you tell us how you win the game from here. But that can also sometimes lead to situations where people have to start trusting calls that they're not normally listening to. It's always a messy situation with exactly how shot calling works.
And everyone has their own ability to have instincts around what the game is like. I think back to CLG's win, where that is a game that no one's really played before, where we're 7 dragons in and there's a Baron dance and a top dead inhibitor, and it's like, oh no, CLG made the call to TP top lane, wait 10 seconds, then TP mid lane, and that killed the Nexus. And it's like, does every player have the instincts to get that one correct? No, right? It's a tight call. They almost lost that one. And you need players who just oh no, I got this. we've never played this exact situation before, but I think I know how the game plays out. And you just want that person to make that call.
And there's a social dynamic to it too that is the messier part that you often don't hear talked about, which is that guy made a call and I listened to it and we lost the game. And there is a very real trust that you have to have with your teammates. And when you're on teams that are losing more games, it can be harder to establish that trust. And I think that's why it's really cool to see some teams like CLG who are just so all in on the same page because they trust each other's calls.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. We got a really heavy trade down the mid lane, leader down 100 HP, and we've got a jungler coming around as well. The flash! And River hits him, and the first blood comes through. PowerOfEvil on the board.
Kenvi working with his laners like he was talking about. PoE wins a heavy trade onto leader. And then the mechanics by Kenvi to get the E-flash Q finishing off the kill. Big start for Immortals now. Kenvi looking to transition that down to a bot lane.
Yeah, looking pretty good here as well. Aphelios, green gun start has a lot of priority. Lucian just cannot really close that gap early on, so you have control over it. And the theoretical chance at a dive was there if Stixxay was low enough. They decided not to go for the play. Would have had cleanse for the ignite, for example, so they're chilling on that one. But almost the ability to get a second kill. Immortals off to the races, though. We can watch that one again.
Yeah, just leader going melee range, trying to get some push going, but really just takes so much damage from PoE. And there you see the auto attack following him after the flash.
Yeah, so always sucks to lose your flash and still die. Just, hey, flash earlier or don't flash at all. You get, a better version of what happened right now. So sucks to get the worst of all worlds, but leader will have to try to find his way back into this game. TP back in, only got the Doran's Ring recall. So not the prettiest by any means, but he'll try his best here. Is Revenge actually trading right now equally with Licorice, so no priority just yet. Licorice goes in for a bit of damage, goes a little slow. Second Q's up in a second, but not in range to get the second vital.
Nice there, though. Revenge still having shove on the wave. We'll see if he can keep that up as River is hanging around on the Trundle.
Gonna find a slow, the flash in for a bit more. Revenge. When is he gonna flash away? Because they want a pillar afterwards, and he knows he's never gonna get out from this one. And they find the kill. I love it. Save the pillar, make him burn the flash, then lock him down. They have the damage.
And I like Revenge's decision to not burn that flash. You are going to be largely on the weak side. A lot of the Graves matchups are about kind of winning 1v1 and hoping that you don't get too much jungler interference and knowing if I lose my flash here, I'm going to open myself up to repeat ganks. So it kind of gives the first blood over, but I think probably the right call in the end. But nice gank there by River, who a lot of people had high expectations when he came over to Golden Guardians. Yeah. He's going to revitalize this team. He's going to stop that slide like you were talking about, and it continued. And now him on Trundle is not necessarily what you expect. We talk about the J4 for him, a lot of proactive junglers, but still finding these ganks and helping Licorice maybe get an advantage now in this matchup.
And he was terrific on that Jarvan yesterday.
He was insane, to be fair.
He was like 6-1-3 in a losing game at one point. Lost has to flash away. The pillar required on that one, but hey, good job. Double summoners out of the Immortals bot lane.
Here you see moving around, trying to take care of his laners. Helps Licorice in the top side, helps his bot lane now. River having a good game. Like you said, their matchup versus 100 Thieves yesterday, even though it was a loss, there was a period of time where they were able to stop the momentum for a little bit, win a couple team fights in a row before ending it in 100 Thieves' favor. But I think it shows the potential that this team has. When things are going well, they can be very explosive with their team fighting.
For sure, potential is there. Revenge gonna go ahead and find the first 3 vitals broken from him. Licorice does not have flash to get any more, but just out of range. But still, hey, that is Licorice ult for flash is a great cooldown trade. However, up to 1v2 if Kenvi comes up.
Yeah, Licorice still healthy enough, though, that probably not going to be able to make any sort of dive happen. So nice trade for Licorice. Looked a little funny with Revenge flashing the wall away from his own turret, but notice if he just got out, he'd be okay. There you see Leader getting away. Yep.
That was just the dash backwards for the shuffle, so a 2-minute cooldown missing. Dragon is up, has been for a bit here. Bot lane control. Looks like everyone is heading down to this river. Golden Guardians maybe looking for the big play. They've got Scuttle Vision. There is a ward, though, for Immortals, making it not an easy play, and as mid is shoved up, and it's going to be Leader coming back to mid to control that.
Yeah, it feels like currently there's 2 kinds of game plans in bot lane in the meta. There's the Turbo Stomp lane with Kallistas, Dravens, Lucian, Namis, and whatnot, and then try and go for dragon stacking and, controlling a lot of neutral objectives. And then there's a heavy scaling option as well with things like Zeri and Sivir and whatnot, and Twitches. And you kind of see the clash of the 2 ideas a little bit here, though obviously Aphelios and Lulu is no joke in lane. And with that gank, River able to help turn the tide back in the Lucian Nami's favor a little bit.
Always feels bad you're slowed and like, I'm not in range of you. I'm 50 range short and I can't walk past that hit you back. I'm just gonna just take these hits and all right, minions it is. They're not gonna run away from me. Slow's still gonna land on a Revenge. Doesn't mean a ton though, as the wave still goes down. Doran's shield for the region. Stixxay has been dropped kind of low. Pretty good poke coming through. And Kenvi is gonna know that he is fine right now. Has gotten all the way up. waiting in that brush. If Golden Guardians walks too far up, it's going to be a lot of pain.
Yeah, cancels the recall. I wasn't sure if he was just escorting the wave in or if they're actually looking for a gank opportunity here.
Yeah, technically optimal play is just mash recall on the brush forever and like just interrupt it and try again, because if you're like, I am going to leave after all, you're already halfway through and you get back home in 4 seconds. If it's like, oh, there's a fight, you just cancel it for free. So any given time you're in a brush, actually always mash recall. It's like technically correct at all points in time.
If you're waiting there anyways, be prepared to recall.
Why not? Oh, they need me top. Okay. I'm on the way. It's like, it's really dumb, but I don't know. I really love things like that where it's like this like micro optimization that like in most games doesn't matter, but sometimes it does.
All right, you doing that in situations where you know you're not going to recall is obviously a little troll.
Yes.
Escorting a wave into cover is a nice option select. I will grant you that. That is a good time to do it. And Kenvi now back on the map, starting off this Rift Herald, and with the bot lane getting shoved, they're on the map first. You see IgNar Blast going over, Lost joining in as well. Golden Guardians are on the move though. River and Prismal making their way into mid.
Ooh, the sun's gonna land. Almost pulls in the tower, but doesn't go all the way over. Still though, Herald is being attacked pretty soundly. Licorice is around, has ulti, but no play to be had. Thank you for the Rift Herald, Kenvi. Yeah, slowed. River would like to hit him, but he's got a lot of escapes right now. W over the wall, not a problem whatsoever.
Yeah, a little bit of a late contest by Golden Guardians there. Did not call that play off. End up swapping their bot lane up to the top side, fully following Immortals bot lane, giving some alone time for Graves. So nice little macro play there by Immortals, working well with their bot pressure to actually start extending that lead. You can see a nice 10 CS advantage for them. Graves not in the lead, but actually caught back up from where he was before with this better rotation.
And finds the second plate down there, so the gold lead grows to 800. Herald itself worth 300. 300 total to kill it, and then another 300 on average when you crash that into some turret plates. So this lead poised to grow to over 1,000 for the Immortal side without anything special going on. Blue buff's handed off, leader gets one as well.
I think you'd also say scaling advantage should probably be in Immortals' favor with the Azir and Aphelios.
Yeah.
One kind of caveat is, of course, split pushing can change everything. If Revenge doesn't find a foothold in this game, and if FLICKR can grow his CS lead or make another kill happen, then potentially you can just have a 4-1 situation or 1-3-1, because obviously leader can go in the side lane as well, but does feel pretty well in Immortals' favor right now.
See leader taking a bunch of damage there. CS though pretty close between the two. Still though has to take his licks and get back out the refill potion out of stacks. Licorice always trying to find his way in. Fleet footwork making it very easy for Revenge to kite back out. If it's up, you auto once, you walk away, and you can't really find the all-in. I will take the Fiora scaling. You know, I think her 1v1 gets to the point where she'll just actually kill you under tower in 3.5 seconds. But yeah, that team fight is so scary with an Azir who's farming fine, and Aphelios is ahead.
So I will say, Revenge is going for the lethality Graves build, which is what Whippo did, I believe it was in the same matchup.
Right, yeah.
And he was able to have pressure almost the entire game because he ended up a little bit ahead. And then you just stay ahead of the pace of the Fiora, and you can keep pushing them in. You start just having like insta-give threat if you ever try and fight her. So there is that potential for Revenge with the build that he's going. I've seen Whippo do it, so you can win against the Fiora throughout the entire game, but it does require you to actually get ahead of her.
Yeah. Also allows him to be in a team fight and say, screw it, I'm just going to hit my spells and just burst the team down. And I've done something at least, you know, like if you are behind, you can at least get your spell damage out. We are going to see items come through. Leandry's done. 10:55 here for PowerOfEvil, but he is not around for this dragon. IgNar may see it happening, but the map control right now belongs to Golden Guardians. Very late into the game, 11 minutes, the first Drake has been claimed. Missing health regen on the board now. Far away from the chance at a Dragon Soul, but IgNar might want Prismal. We'll look for a slow. And does Kenvi find his way in. W-E, flash, ulti, here we go! Prismal gonna try to get away, ulti already burned down, flashes the wall, gets away from Glitter just barely stays alive. Flash for flash, ignite down.
Prismal able to get out, loses both of his individual sums, but gets Ignar's and Kenvi's as well as a couple of ults together. So not bad for Golden Guardians in terms of relieving the pressure around bot lane a little bit. Is going to be able to sustain up just with his W and whatnot, so doesn't even leave lane. Might get their counterpunch in here.
A lot of spells on cooldown right now. Lost theoretically at a very small deficit, but healthy enough with a mini wave that there's no play to be had for the Lucian. Now they're behind him. If they stayed, oh no, is there gonna be enough people? IgNar's gonna be the target. They know he has no flash, but how about the reinforcements? River is not that tanky. He's being attacked. He's been polymorphed, and he's gonna drop. Fertilizing the ground now. Lost hold in the front line. He is happy to fight. Golden Guardians picked the 3-on-3 that they lost.
They tried to find the angle. Still too tanky though. Couldn't ever get on top of IgNar. Then it's Kenvi versus River as the 1v1 and just slightly more damage for Immortals' side. Yep. Able to kill River, then continue that push, drop the Rift Herald, going to explode this game up to 3,000 gold lead 12 minutes in.
That's looking really nice now. Honestly, Immortal's going to feel pretty happy with this one. 3,000 is huge off the fact that Lulu was not the target to go for. Able to kite it long enough, everyone else free hit. Stixxay may hit the back of the eye. Yeah, okay, this will be a Herald not getting a second shot. You gotta walk down, bud. I mean, he should be able to get it.
He's gonna get it.
Okay.
He's gonna get it.
I was just nervous that he's like gonna, I don't know, screw up somehow, but he's fine. All right, we gotta watch that fight again from Immortals' side. Let's hear it.
We look for one more time.
Actually, literally 3 ping words, guys.
I mean,
right now,
it's
so.
just quite a one shot, no?
Just one shot. Just one.
I'm running, but Sylas first. I'm running safe, mate. I'm running safe.
We win.
I'm same time as Sylas. Survive, Ken. Survive for Rift. Survive for Rift.
I'm shield.
Yes, I'm running safe. Sylas left side. Okay, Sylas
Okay,
left side.
back now.
I'm here now.
Okay, go.
I love Revenge throwing in his comms from top lane.
How did we hear it?
You know, he was the one who was saying Ken survive for Rift. He was telling Kenvi to not go too aggressive. So Revenge got eagle eyes on the map. He's like, who cares about my 1v1? There's a fight in the bot lane I gotta watch.
Yeah.
Also had TP, so I'm sure he was looking specifically to see if I should be TPing in.
Yeah, down to the bot lane turret and like, I'll walk up there, don't worry. See you soon. Never mind. I actually really like Pee-wee's comms though. Like, just nothing but praise for the fact like, okay, I'm moving, but they're mids first. Like, that's exactly what I want to hear. I didn't feel like it was too cluttered. Like, just knowing roam timers, honestly, you're busy fighting a 3-on-3, like, you are not tracking minimap mid, right? Like, you just don't have that attention available. And so the fact that someone's like, hey, by the way, Sylas is here before me, very useful to know. So I want to give praise to Pee-wee for good comms.
Yeah, as well as IgNar saying, I'm fine. You know, when they jumped on him, he said, I can get out of here, and so that they can feel confident fighting it. Very, very well done by Immortals to win that little skirmish in the bot side.
Now we get the minions to drop down. Plates will drop. And at 14 minutes, a 3.1 thousand gold lead. The Golden Guardians plummet continues as they've been, and it's not just, oh, the fights went bad. Like, it's 2-1 in kills. Like, it's not that bad. But everything else is just entirely IMT. Licorice tries again, lands an auto attack, and can get nothing done here against Revenge.
No, and like you said, it's not just about the gold lead at the death. It's about how the team comps want to function. The fact that your bot side kind of counterpick, which they say for the end of their draft, is not really ahead, fell 20 CS behind, turned down. The top side matchup was counterpicked by Immortals, and while Licorice has done a good job individually, it's not enough to really give you any substantial pressure on the map or even a way to play this game out. So, you know, Immortals might take it a little slow from here because I think they're very confident in their scaling and they just want to play around neutral objectives. And so it's the onus is on Golden Guardians to make something happen like this.
4v1. What are they going to get for it? Because second Herald is alive. It's being attacked right now, I believe. But now Revenge, yeah, full on before. Like, you actually can't live this. No one has TP. Tidal Wave to make sure it really happens. Here comes the dive. River holds aggro, just sort of sits there at the edge of the range. And they get the kill, but Prismal somehow takes the kill. The man needed to stop hitting, I gotta believe.
Bloodthirsty. You hear Kirby talking about it in the Champions Queue games on the Lulu, the 14 kill, whatever it was, 25 Magi stacks. Not in LCS, please.
Yeah, that is rough. You really want that money to go on either the Sylas or the Fiora. I mean, it's a really minor thing. It's not going to change the game very much, but a very minor thing lost there. Golden Guardians get a kill. They get one thing back for the Herald. Keep in mind, again, Herald, 300 gold in and of itself. Top lane outer, left alone, that's 500 gold in and of itself. And though Golden Guardians make a move, Immortals get far more.
Yeah, the fact that they can't get that turret in the bot side is very painful. You see the TP coming in. River's still around. They could go for a second dive, but it looks like too many other people have reset on the map already. And Revenge clears that wave out to protect his turret.
You see Pee-wee walking on his way down. Scryers blooms it, sees who's around. All right, we're going to be fine. And just some ward control going back and forth here. 3,500 remains the lead. Grown slightly by IMT. Second dragon of the game coming up. Right now, Fiora in the top lane does have teleport. Can come down. Meanwhile, Immortals going to bring their entire team down here. Lost crossing mid lane just now. And here is a Sylas teleport to play for bottom lane.
A little awkward timing here because they're trying to potentially set up a dive onto Revenge with the TP back in, but the rest of Immortals has moved down into the river already to fight for the dragon, and so you can't make a bot dive happen.
Just cross map from top side, honestly. And Fiora is pinging it that, hey, I'm doing this, no one has TP to answer. But, like, I want to see Nami giving him wards. I want to see Lucian killing mid and then coming up there as well. Like, get the money. Like, the wave's not live long enough. Like, imagine leader TP's top lane. They actually kill the turret. They get a bounty. They catch up a little bit.
That's what I was going to say about that play. Is it's not the end of the world like anything terrible happens, but you do lose a resource in your TP, and Immortals now has a bit of a nice tempo advantage. You get that dragon, drop this Rift Herald mid, break this turret, all outers down now.
And that's going to be a nice one. There we're going to have the flash in for leader. Wants to scoop back. Oh, interrupted by the Lulu for a second, but IgNar still going to be the target. IgNar will go down. One kill picked up as they run away and get a bit more gold in the pockets. Gold lead sits at around 3,000 still, but Immortals now have their first Drake.
Nice little punish there by Golden Guardians. Immortals drops the Rift Herald mid. Feels like, hey, we're up enough now that can finish off, and Kenvi kind of dips out into the river, gives a little bit of an opening for a counterpunch. Golden Guardians find that kill on mid, and their lane setup now is going to be 1-3-1. You see the Fiora on the top side. Leader going to go back bottom after this, even after the reset. Feels like the AD carry will be stuck mid. Stixxay will be on wave clear duty there, and we'll see if they can make any of these map movements like you're talking about. Nami after pushing mid, trying to meet up with either the Sylas or Fiora find some kills in the side lanes.
It's one of the things that I really like about how macro in League of Legends works is like dragons are like moderately useful, right? If you give every stat an exact gold value, a dragon is like 1,000 gold, like it's pretty good. But it never combines your Gale Force. It never finishes death cap for you, right? So you'd always rather have gold than a gold value of stats. And so in a lot of cases, like trading top lane out or 500 gold for like an 800 gold Drake is like actually fine, especially if you're the losing team. And the fact that Golden Guardian is like, we're down 3K, let's wait for a dragon that we can't win. It's like, just trade gold, please.
Well, as well as the fact that a lot of item completions are more than 100% gold efficient. Almost all legendaries
all are.
Yeah, it's balanced around that fact. So those gold values that you're talking about on average are going to be in favor of the completed items. Here you see nice little punish, like we said. Kenvi had already started moving up to the top side, thinking that the Rift Herald was going to take it alone, and that allows the pincer from Golden Guardians to come in there. Yep. This time, IgNar not getting away.
Yep. And the second half of the cross-mapping thing, and if there's not going to be a fight, is like, okay, they are getting Drakes though, and they're getting towards Soul. So like, okay, if I'm Golden Guardians, I am hard cross-mapping. Every single time I'm going top outer for Dragon, every single time they go for Herald, I'm going for bot, which we saw, right? And it means like, okay, well, I get to do 4 of these plays, and on play 4, I need to stop Dragon Soul. So I get some time to cross-map you, catch up in gold, but now I'm allowed no mistakes. And that's cool, right? Because the winning team is getting, like, they're reaching eventuality where they're just gonna crush you with their lead, but you get opportunities to be like, they have to go to the side of the map. They have to do something, so I can at least trade back, and it makes a really good tension.
Here's your problem with this.
Yeah.
I want to see bloodshed, Phreak.
Yeah.
I'm the typical LCS fan.
Yeah, I
League
understand
fan.
that.
You don't want to watch trading. You want to watch people fighting.
But that's the thing. That's why you tower dive a Wukong, right? Like, you're going to Herald, I'm going to tower dive a Graves. You get your bloodshed.
Or the Graves backs off the wave and respects the weak side play.
That's why you have to tower dive his second tower.
You got to go even deeper.
You got to go even farther.
Okay. Nice calling there by Stixxay. Like we said, the focus for the Lucian Nami is to try and get prio here in the mid lane. It's kind of tough to actually win out, but you got to use these abilities to try and win some trades and then move into the side lane.
Prismal flashing in, Gale Force, he's got him! There's your bloodshed mark! Lost takes him down, but River's in for a bit more, so he's gonna lose his life.
TP comes in for Licorice, not able to find anything else.
Maybe a bit much.
a little much. I saw what he saw. I was like, this is gonna turn into a big fight. But his ultimate, I think the person like died in the middle of the cast or something because I didn't see the Fiora circle go down, but it's on cooldown. So I'm not quite sure what happened.
Never popped the vital on anyone he hit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it just like fizzled out, and then he didn't have his ult for the rest of the fight. And I think that's why you saw Golden Guardians kind of disengage from that. I was like, okay, we just used a fair amount of resources to trade that back. So. Once again, they find these kills. They've actually gotten up in kills in this game. You can see Golden Guardians worming their way back in, doing exactly what you're talking about. As much as I was maligning it,
and we got kills.
They're getting kills. They're cross-mapping. They're finding these opportunities where Immortals, thinking that they can punish mid, just go a little too aggressive. And this is what the 1-3-1 wants to do, is being able to kind of divide and conquer and collapse in faster than the enemy team.
Well, 20 CS lead for Licorice on this Fiora, on his first large item there. IgNar is going to be fast enough to not get caught by anything. River cannot really get the pillar as he needs it. And 2 items in for Stixxay. Has skipped boot upgrade to get his rapid fire cannon in. You can watch that engage from Lost again.
Yeah, so Stixxay, after burning his ultimate, trying to just get some pre-chunks so that they can kind of get the shove here. Didn't get enough damage down, and Lost, to his credit, has been a lot more aggressive after that kind of break that they had in the LCS here. Landing that ult, Gale Force flash auto with that many Chakrams stacked up absolutely destroys him. Only problem is now you use all your abilities to go in, and the rest of Golden Guardians was there to punish. But I like the aggressive mindset we're seeing out of him. He's also going the Collector, kind of wanting to one-shot people. Not many tanks other than the Trundle, and you're probably just saying, I don't want to be hitting Trundle. So he's going to have to continue playing aggressive to find the other melee champions.
That's the nice thing about Lulu, right? The move speed gives you target access, and we saw it there. The Gale Force go for squishy angle is there. The typical build for Aphelios is still maxing your lethality, upgrade second, so that really does scale it pretty nicely. Yes, he's skipping on tank busting. Yes, he's kind of skipping on third item DPS. So once you get the IE, then LDR kind of kicks on. But yeah, I used Hunter to one-shot the Nami. Just needs the peel next time.
Well, and I think it's fair to say that IMT's comp does not lack for damage. Between the Graves, Wukong, Azir, there's plenty in there. And so if your thought process is, I want to kill the threats to me as fast as I can, rather than chew through frontline, like this you can say is going to help you punch through the Fiora or the Sylas with the rest of your team.
Alrighty, so we move forward. Now, worth noting that, of course, Immortals have gotten 2 Drakes in a row now, and you can kind of look at the fact that really this team is very happy with the stats out of the Hextech Drake. It's one of the weird ones where it's like, you don't often want attack speed and ability haste, but then you look at like, well, Graves, Wukong, Azir, they all really like both those stats. We got some really good dragons, you know, with how many stats it's given. So that's one of the weird things about Drakes is it's going to really depend on team comp how much you like it, but Immortals really likes it. So they stack those up. Golden Guards have worked back 1,000 of the gold lead. They're certainly still behind, but they've got 9 minutes still to try to work that back before they have to fight for soul.
And they also still have some standing turrets up. You see it's 3 turrets to 1 in favor of Immortal. So if Golden Guardians can ever find one of these plays onto a side lane or get a substantial fight in mid lane, then you can actually grab some more turret gold back as well. They have some standing gold to catapult them back ahead if they can find a definitive win.
Wukong's going to knock that one down and say, hey, it's a ward, I can kill that. And the camp is taken, so Kenvi's farm doing quite well, up a solid 22. Going to be up a little bit more afterwards, so a nice 6 camp lead now for the Wukong. As Leader just catches his farm. Now he's got pretty good CS, honestly, 260, 23 minutes. Around 11 per minute is definitely a nice clip here, as everyone else kind of catches up here as well. And bot lane goes down, so Licorice, now that he's got some lifesteal, has the wave clear, has sustain, and is able to actually get lane pressure.
You can see Immortals moving down to try and do something about this.
1v3.
Yeah.
So there's the Shirley's, there's the pop in, a lot of slows. Polymorph could make it an easy scoop, and they're going to get it indeed. Finally gets the riposte across, but he will die. Really nicely done. Guarantees with the Whimsy. He knows he can scoop, and the 1-for-0 Immortals get the gold back up to 1.7k.
It is post 20 minutes, so Golden Guardians do dip into the top river to try and be like, whoa, my Baron, but they don't have enough of a threat to actually make Golden Guardians, or excuse me, Immortals react to that one. So nice kill onto Licorice. And like you said, he does have a lot of sustain. You have the Chempunk Chainsword combined already, Chum Chunk Chainsword.
Yeah, that's good. That's the new name of the item.
Yeah, it's gonna cut the healing a little bit, but it's always a funny thing to talk about, like, is this the best thing for you? Because if he's healing, do you cut it enough to actually kill him, or should you prioritize burst and hope that you land some CC and then 100 to 0 with other items?
The nice thing is it's still a pretty respectable amount of AD. It's not like he can like go for an Infinity Edge kind of item that's pure damage, so I think it's pretty respectable.
Yeah.
That in the average case, he will be hitting some vitals, so I think it's pretty reasonable.
He's gonna heal a little bit.
He will Gore Drinker at some point.
Yeah. No,
you know?
I like a lot of the healing debuff items that is so much sustain. They did nerf a lot of the sustain in the game with this latest patch, but a lot of the champions items still bring a lot.
Ult for ult. Licorice needs to get this Q into range. Doesn't get the reset. He was close to it, but didn't have it there, so I think it's a bit more move speed. Cannot quite keep up with Revenge on the way out. But yeah, the first one hits, he can go for a lot more. Reinforcements were coming. 2 minutes till the next dragon comes up. 2.2k still to lead for Immortals as they move towards a Hextech Soul. Golden Guardians only got the 1 to their name as they wait and look to scale. We've got a Wukong up from behind. Licorice, can he outplay the next knockup here? His ulti's already down, does not guess the riposte timer at any point in time here. Lower and lower, gets the Gore Drinker, gets out, ulti burned, survival for Licorice.
All right, Licorice baits that ult, gets a lot of resources thrown his way yet again. The Gore Drinker keeps him up. A minute and a half before Dragon, Kenvi ult should be back available for that, so we'll see if Golden Guardians want to contest or if they're going to keep going for these trades. Like you said, this is another opportunity for a cross map if they decide not to try and stop the dragon stacking of Immortals. I will say, with the buffs that came in for dragons, there is more of an impetus to stopping them early because they give substantial stat benefits. Like you said, the fact that a lot of Immortals champions are double dipping into the stats that Hextech is giving in particular. I think there's a good case to make that at 1.5k-ish advantage in Immortals' favor, that this might be the time to fight.
Absolutely, I think I agree with that one. As Lost is going to grab a red buff, though, it's a nice power spike to have. One of the best parts about this, actually, since no one really runs, I mean, Rat vs. Hunter doesn't exist anymore, and Legend Bloodline doesn't get taken all that much either, that you really like the out-of-combat regen of red buff. Like, you'll just get randomly chipped by something, and it's like, I'm just going to get 2/3 forever, because I have no, like, it's so inefficient to buy lifesteal, but those are so expensive, 3,400, that you're like, I would like some regen, please, and red buff does that for you.
Yeah, also, just having a Vamp Scepter sitting in your inventory feels really bad when you're trying to get to your second and third item completion. So yeah, red buff. The healing is not negligible. Very helpful in the late game.
It's why we're seeing BT second on Aphelios some, because people are like, I really need sustain at some point, and they're just like, screw it, we'll just buy it second. We'll just have like the slowest build ever, but we're gonna not die. The leader wants to cut the wave a little bit and find their way towards a push maybe as Immortals go for broken mid lane, but with Fog of War, they could try to delete this, and now, with the vision the way it is, you can see Immortals now look for a Baron opportunity, but a ward to the back of the pit. They're gonna spot that Immortals are rushing for it, so it's time to turn around. Nami and Lucian are on the way there, but can they get in range in time, because it's still burning down this Baron. River will be here, he's got a blast bite, he's got vision, here's the TP, flash! Cannot quite get it, let's down Immortals in this fight.
Go mid. Dragon still.
I'm watching.
Dragon Dragon's still up. Yeah, watch this in, watch this in.
Care Tristan's going deep. Okay. Kill this guy, kill this guy, kill this guy, kill. I got you. Come in.
That's oh, it's the only comm you can go for there.
Oh, I gotta say, PoE absolutely made a monster play though, despite the little hiccup of taking the turret shot right at the end and dying. Maybe goes from a game end to just a mid inhibitor, but you heard how crazy he was going. Even his team was like, oh my God, Tristan, you're in there.
Yeah, he's gonna be okay for now. Careful, leader into 1K, but it's jumped back to the turret. And yeah, with that, they say, okay, we're gonna Hex Gate back out. We'll take our third Drake. Could have looked for the win. Yes, an overstep, sure, but they're still gonna get a lot out of this Baron and now the Dragon as well towards Soul Point.
Really good decision making by Immortals as well, putting so much pressure on the Baron that Golden Guardians didn't even finish this Dragon, so they're able to continue their stacking as well. River just had to flash into the pit alone, not able to get that secure. A nice kind of, it's not really a flip, heavily weighted in Immortals' favor with 5 people hitting the Baron plus your own smite. Of course, not surprised to see it go in their favor. And then the peel off as well. Because Golden Guardians was so split, someone TPing into the middle of the pit, River's flashing in, the front line is just kind of evaporated, and PoE sees his angle here to shuffle in on the split fight.
That was a nice one.
Yeah, nice interrupt by Prismal, but then stepping a little bit too far forward again.
Yeah.
The Lulu combo keeping PoE alive, and then, oh, that corner gets me too. Yeah. Everyone who played League of Legends has done that moment where you round that corner, you take the turret shot, and you just slap that forehead.
Like, yeah, that was a mistake. It happens. We move on to 5,000 gold. Rebel Baron power play, 2,700 gold plus the Dragon. On their way to the Hextech Soul in 4 minutes time as Immortals will look to tie here at, I mean, ultimately it'll be 7th place if TSM also drop. But, you know, that 4-win mark is 7th, 8th, and maybe soon to be 9th place, all tied up together. Golden Guardians will find themselves on a 6-game losing streak if they don't find a comeback here. Prismal waiting in the wings, leader down there as well. This turret will die.
Yeah, not the angle that they wanted right now. Prismal maybe could have sent the wave over in there, but they're trying to get IMT to step a little bit too far forward for that last turret and find a flank option, but Kenvi's kind of holding that so that no one can actually get behind the rest of the team. Licorice
gonna try. Ulti's on, gets the first one. Ulti backwards, second pop. He's gonna go for the rest of it. No, turret's gonna be too much durability, too much damage back. Revenge tanks it up. The bonus health certainly helping there.
At the same time, Immortals gonna step back forward for this turret now that there's a little bit less pressure in the mid lane. They've also shoved out the people on the flank. They have the turret drop behind them by PoE.
Round 2 for Licorice. Knows he outsustains them. I think there is an Eclipse in Revenge's inventory, but it's still going to be yeah, decent enough healing to keep him okay. We may see Licorice try again with the flash later on. Top inhibitor will be dropping. The Immortals look for the rest of it here. Leader still waiting with the Azir scoop. Decides no, today is not the day. Drop the inhib. Let the regen come through. Wait for later.
All right, 2 inhibitors taken off the back end of that Baron that Immortal secured. Only 1 left. Licorice has done what he can in the mid lane to keep the mid lane push from going against them, given that the super creeps he's up against. He also has the Hull Breaker, trying to get some turret damage down, but it's still tough, even with the Graves just easily able to clear these waves out.
Yep, Seroldas knocks down the waves. Decent spell damage here as well. Keeps going for the ability haste, raw AD build. And arm penetration looks pretty solid here. Gold leads. You can see that Licorice is up, but unfortunately with every team fight going poorly, yes, he has lane pressure, but hasn't been able to do much more than it. Obviously, really, really huge out of mid and bottom. And honestly, jungle. Kenvi had some really good ganks early on as well for Immortals.
It's a huge bounce back game from them. Dropping 2 Dignitas just yesterday, I think Revenge and PoE had some rough performance in that game. And to say like, okay, guys, we can bounce back from this. It was 0-3, including the games from last week against some of the top teams. You then go into a Dignitas who was at the time the lowest ranked team in the league. And dropping that, you have to feel like it hurts your confidence, but the fact that they have bounced back right now against Golden Guardians is absolutely huge for keeping their playoff dreams alive.
Pretty good pillar. River on the front line. Not going to burn the ulti just yet, but Kenvi getting pretty low. Going to flash to safety. Golden Guardians maybe found a fight. They like IgNar. Low health here as well, but keep in mind, mid and top are pushing in. Revenge buying some time here. Can Leader find the stun? Can Licorice find the engage? Revenge still has ulti and flash to disengage, so he's going to be just fine on this one. Leader jumps the wall, but now bot lane's under fire, and they've got to get back into the base, so Golden Guardians will sack bot lane tier 2. Good kiting by Immortals. The 6th man, the mini waves flooding in elsewhere, forcing Golden Guardians' hand.
Yeah, Immortals are not going to reset off this. They're actually going to keep this push going with these supers in the top side. That's going to give them time alone on this bot inhibitor to take all 3 just before Soul Point spawns.
Filler toward Revenge. Ulti's back to safety. Stixxay too low to fight, and there's going to be a Licorice TP. Is this even possible?
Second one coming.
Second TP. They've got to make the play. It's Golden Guardians going for broke. Here comes the first dive. IgNar burns the ulti. Whimsy for a second. Now here's the dive. The scoop on a 2, and it's a perfect setup by PowerOfEvil. Leader's already gone. They're going to look for Licorice now as well. They chomp him down. A double kill for the Azir, and it's Golden Guardians running away. A TP for the flank inside the base onto the minions. Hey, Stixxay, guess what? Revenge is here, but he may have sealed his own fate. Just barely survives, runs away, and it's 2 left. Now only 1 left, and Golden Guardians will find their 6th straight loss. Immortals stop the slide. They will take down the Nexus turrets, and Immortals will finally get their 4th win in the LCS.
Set up a potential 3-way tie in 7th as well. Immortals, too much peeling for Golden Guardians. Dive to punch through. They kite out that fight. They grab their win finally, climbing up to 4 wins overall, especially off the back of PoE, an absolutely monstrous performance on the Azir, one of his signature champions.
I'm excited for that 4-way tie, though. Golden Guardians, Dignitas TSM is next.
Oh, yeah.
Win 4-way tie at 7th through 10th, but good job there. PoE definitely monster performances there on the Azir. So many good setups. I mean, he crushed leader in lane. Just like, here, man, just show up and show me a flash and we get first blood. Set that one up really easy for Kenvi, playing around his lanes. Just kind of across the board, I felt like Immortals played a really, really good game.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I think this is a team that they had such a rough start to the split that they had to find their footing kind of on the move, and it can be a little difficult to do that. And yeah, with so many young players as well, Kenvi stepping into his first split, he's been leveling up noticeably over the course of it. And if they can make it into playoffs, they could be one of these teams that you're a little scared of playing, because when they're on, we've seen that they can actually contend with 100 Thieves and EG a little bit.
Indeed, stopping a 3-game loss streak, and still some beatable teams to go for Immortals. It is a playable schedule for sure. CLG, FlyQuest, Cloud9, tough opponents, but not top of the table if you are going to be in playoff form. These are teams that you hope to be about your speed. As they stand right now, they are 1-1 head-to-head with Golden Guardians. They are actively tied with them in the standings, so they are tied at 8-9. We'll see if Dig keeps up. We'll see if they don't. But at this moment in time, they are slotted for a tiebreak with Golden Guardians for the last spot in playoffs with 3 to play.
I mean, this is a crazy end to summer. It felt like middle of the split, things were decided. It was like, EG is the best team in the world. We're great, you know. Then there's the bottom teams. It was like Immortals, and it was Dignitas, who were like, oh, they're struggling. And now suddenly, with the Dignitas win, the Immortals win, it's like, it feels like pretty much anything can happen still in the rest of the split.
Yeah, which is exciting. I'm glad that there are races everywhere, even for first place, right?
Yeah.
It is within reach. 1 and 2, they're literally tied at this point. You know, who's going up bracket, who's not. It's very exciting. I'm happy to see all that even going into the final week. And of course, the final game today, also a big deal again. Dignitas TSM, a battle for playoffs as well. I'm glad that all the games have stakes, because frequently that doesn't happen, and so I'm glad we see that here.
You sometimes get those games where you're like, all right, 2 teams eliminated for playoffs, going at it. But
ooh, can't wait for this, 1 and 12 versus 15 and 1, like, ooh, that's gonna be a game.
Barn burner.
Yeah, barn burner. The barn is gonna burn down. The horses are dying. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Now, today, that went dark fast. Yesterday, I got to talk about how we have deep storylines, the LCS, and deep dish Pete's. And guess what? You can check those out as well. And I'm going to talk about it because you can get these things in Chicago with us at the United Center in September as we crown our next LCS champions. As always, you can check out the LCS official Twitter account for your direct links to grab your tickets. And we're going to be joining LeTigress on stage with PowerOfEvil for our Verizon postgame interview.
Welcome, everyone, to the stage. Immortals fans rejoice as a victory was achieved. PowerOfEvil, you are at the center of a lot of that. Definitely saw some emotion from you from the stage, though. Can you walk me through that?
Well, I feel like I had a really, really great play. I got the Lucian and a Nami kill, and then afterwards I died to the turret, which was really funny. I mean, I was like, we can end, actually. And everyone was like hyping me up because I just did this Smurf play. And then I died, and I was like, oh my God, what did I do?
It just adds that little bit of sprinkle on top.
Yeah, it was a funny way to end the play.
And even with jokes aside, though, you did have a very serious performance to get you player of the game here. Talking a bit about the approach to the weekend, because we saw you on the Orianna yesterday, Azir today, very comfortable picks. Coach Yip talked about trying to go towards that comfort. How do you feel that that's working out for the team and the way you approach this game?
I think, obviously, we're very disappointed about yesterday. I think that was a very important game that we lost, which puts us into like a really risky position. We need to, I think, in the next Super Week, perform really good. And I think I'm obviously really happy that we got the Azir today. I think it's a pick that always worked out for us and was banned a lot of times. So, But we were actually thinking about that they will probably leave it open because Leader likes to play champions that are good into Azir, and I like to play Azir, so I was predicting that this is probably going to happen, and I'm happy that it worked out for us.
Yeah, laning and beyond going so well for you and the rest of the team. Digging a bit more deeply into not just yesterday, but the past couple weeks, I know that losses hurt, but the positive side when watching last week, for instance, is, oh, they were still looking great in those losses against top teams. How are you handling that, the mental as a team, when things are in such a crunch moment right now?
I think when things are rough and we are on like such a low standing, these games that we played against EG and Hunter Thieves, I feel like a lot comes down to nerves and pressure, and all of us are like really wanting to win every game, and we know how important it is, and you can see how close and competitive these games are. But in these clutch moments, I think we are too nervous and too stressed out, slash just something goes wrong and we don't cover for each other's mistakes in these like split-second decisions. And that's why we are having these like really devastating losses, which obviously are putting us really low in the standings. But at the bright side, as you said, I think we are having good performances overall, and I think we need to just keep them up and clutch up the ending and get these victories, because that's all that matters.
Yeah, and trying to get those victories, I mean, one of the things people have been keeping in mind when watching Immortals is since that break, it feels like you were one of the greatest teams affected. I remember talking to you when you basically just got off the plane and had to go into competitive play. What do you feel is the greatest improvement in terms of the teams, and what has been a bright light for you in Immortals? I think the biggest improvement was that at the start, when I just came in, I said we had there were too many veterans, so we had different ideas on how to progress the game. People wanted to do different plays, do different strategies. We were not really on the same page, which really hurts you in the game around, like, not for the early game, but for like the mid game. And then additionally, I think, obviously with Kenvi being a rookie, there was obviously some, like knowledge that we needed to get as well as a team. Like teach the game, get on the same page. In the end, it's 3 new players, right? So it's like somewhat a brand new team. But I'm happy that we kind of came together and we're doing way better after the break. With those veteran voices that you mentioned, is there anyone, yourself or otherwise, that's kind of taking that leading charge? I think it's always something where the good performances and like how you do in scrims, how you do on stage, I think this really like kind of gains you respect and trust of your teammates. So in the game, you kind of know who to follow and who to go. Like how can you trust this guy to do the right call in the game? I think I will just take like last game as an example, when I'm kind of solo engaging on the Lucian and the Nami. I think in the first maybe weeks we wouldn't have went for that, and we would have been like, well, maybe I would have went solo in and died. But I was calling, watch me, and everyone was trusting me, and everyone was kind of giving me that extra confidence to go for it. And that's why I think it worked out so well, because we did it as a team. Making sure to do those trust falls in your free time as a squad. Well, congrats on the W. Always great to see a smile on your face, PowerOfEvil. And thank you for the interview. We do have another game to go. It's Dignitas taking on TSM, another high-stakes matchup. You don't want to miss it. See you on the other side of the break.
They stayed. Oh, no, there's going to be enough people. IgNar's going to be the target. They know he has no flash, but how about the reinforcements? River is not that tanky. He's being attacked. He's been polymorphed, and he's going to drop.
Tristan's going deep. Okay. Kill this guy, kill this guy, kill. I got you. Come in. Oh, no. I didn't. Chill, guys. Hextech Drake. Oh, chill.
Whimsy for a second now. Here's the dive, the scoop on a 2, and it's a perfect setup by PowerOfEvil. Leader's already gone. They're going to look for Licorice now as well. They chop him down. A double kill for the Azir, and it's Golden Guardians running away. A TP for the flank inside the base onto the minions. Hey, Stixxay, guess what? Revenge is here.
What if respawning was refreshing? Here's to the round between rounds.
This game is rigged. This game is out to get me.